Hey there, everyone. Welcome, so glad you could join me today. Today we're going to talk about something I think many of us, maybe all of us at some point, wrestle with. It's that relentless voice, sometimes external, often internal, that whispers or shouts that whatever we're doing is just not enough, that we need to push harder, go faster, achieve more, be more. And we listen, right? We push, we grind, we stretch ourselves so thin we feel like we're about to snap. We chase that elusive enough until we're running on fumes, burnt out and wondering if this is all there is. But what if? What if the answer isn't to push even harder? What if the real strength, the real path to a more fulfilling life lies in something much simpler? Something like just relaxing, just breathing, understanding that if that one more thing doesn't get done today, the world, believe it or not, will keep spinning. I'd love to know where you are tuning in from today. What time is it where you are? And as we go through this session, what's one thing you hope to take away, or one area of your life where you feel this pressure the most? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and hey, if this resonates with you, consider giving it a like and subscribing for more conversations like this. It really helps us reach more people who might need to hear this message. All right, let's dive in. For years, I was caught in that same whirlwind. That feeling of not enough was my shadow. You need to do more, achieve more, be faster, be better. It was a constant hum beneath the surface of everything I'd finished one task. And instead of a sense of accomplishment, there was just a looming mountain of the next 10. I bought into the idea that if I wasn't constantly striving, visibly exerting maximum effort, then I was somehow failing, lazy, or falling behind. Sound familiar to anyone? The result? Predictable. Burnout more than once. I remember one particular period in my life. I was juggling a demanding job, trying to build a side project, maintain relationships, and somewhere in there pretend I had a personal life. I was sleeping maybe 4 or 5 hours a night. My diet was whatever was fast. My patience, non-existent. I was irritable, anxious, and honestly not very good at any of the things I was trying so desperately to excel at. My efforts, ironically, were becoming less effective the harder I pushed. I felt like I was sprinting a marathon, gassing out before I even hit the halfway mark, all because I was terrified of not being enough. It took a particularly hard crash for me to even begin to question this relentless drive. A project at work collapsed, something I'd poured my soul into, precisely because I was too exhausted to see critical flaws. My health took a nosedive. And I remember sitting there amidst the wreckage of my overambition, and the only thought I could muster was, I can't do this anymore. Not the work, not the project, but this way of living, this constant, exhausting race against an invisible clock, against invisible competitors, against myself. And in that moment of near surrender, a different thought, a quieter one, managed to break through the noise. What if I just stopped pushing so hard? Just for a day? What if I just relaxed? It felt like heresy. The idea of intentionally not doing, not striving was terrifying. My inner critic screamed bloody murder. You'll fall behind. Everything will collapse. You're a slacker. But I was so tired. The fear almost didn't matter as much as the exhaustion. So I tried it. I took a day. I didn't look at emails. I didn't try to optimize my downtime. I just was. I went for a walk without a destination. I sat and watched the clouds. I breathed deeply for the first time in what felt like years. And you know what happened? The world didn't end. The sky didn't fall. The urgent tasks were still there the next day, but somehow they seemed less monstrous. I felt a sliver of clarity, a tiny bit of peace I hadn't realized I was starving for. This brings me to something I call the racetrack theory. Imagine life as this enormous, sprawling racetrack. We're all on it in different vehicles, some sleek and fast, some sturdy and slow, some maybe just on foot. From a young age, we're often conditioned to see it as a competition. Who gets to the next checkpoint first? Who's logging the fastest lap times? Who's ahead? Who's falling behind? We see others blaze past us, and that familiar panic sets in. I need to go faster. I'm not doing enough. I need to catch up. So we put the pedal to the metal, we cut corners, maybe not always safely. We focus so intently on the car ahead or the one gaining on us from behind that we miss the scenery entirely. We're so fixated on getting to that finish line, on winning, that we exhaust ourselves, burn through our fuel, and maybe even crash and burn, never quite understanding what the race was truly for. But here's the core of the racetrack theory. The finish line. It's always there. It's not going anyway. For every single one of us, there is an end to our individual track. But here's the crucial part. Life isn't a race you win against others. There's no grand trophy for being the first to cross it. There's no leaderboard displayed in the sky ranking everyone by their completion time. The people who seem to pass that finish line before you, whether it's in career achievements, life milestones, or even literally their journey, doesn't invalidate yours. Their speed doesn't diminish your path. I remember when I was younger, fresh out of college, I had this internal checklist. Get this job by X age, this promotion by Y, this house by Z. I saw friends achieving these things, sometimes seemingly effortlessly, and I'd push myself harder, terrified of being left behind. I was treating life like a sprint. I got some of those things, sure, but I barely registered them. The moment one checkbox was ticked, my eyes were already on the next. Faster, harder, I sacrificed friendships, neglected hobbies, and accumulated a whole lot of stress, all for the sake of a timeline that was entirely self-imposed and largely influenced by comparing my lap time to others. What I missed in my frantic rush was the journey itself. The racetrack theory proposes that the true value isn't in how fast you complete the track, but in what you experience while you're on it. It's about the people you meet in the pit stops, the lessons you learn when you have to navigate an unexpected detour, the beauty of the landscapes you pass when you actually allow yourself to look around instead of just staring at the taillights of the person in front of.
Think about it. When someone is nearing the end of their life's track, what do they talk about? Is it the number of reports they filed on time, the emails they answered at lightning speed, the promotions they got a year earlier than a colleague? Rarely. They talk about the people they loved and who loved them, the experiences that shaped them, the moments of connection, of laughter, of quiet joy, of lessons learned, sometimes the hard way. They talk about the journey. When you're blazing through, trying to shave seconds off your lap time, you don't have the capacity to truly connect with the people you meet. Conversations become transactional. Relationships become secondary to the goal. You might wave as you speed past someone interesting, someone who could have enriched your journey, taught you something invaluable, or even just shared a moment of camaraderie. But you're too focused on staying ahead. I learned this lesson quite profoundly when I deliberately slowed down after that burnout. I started saying yes to coffee with colleagues, not because I had an agenda, but just to connect. I started making time for friends, not just when it was convenient, but when it mattered. I reconnected with hobbies I'd abandoned because they weren't productive, and the world didn't just not end, it opened up. My life became richer, more textured. The connections I made, the insights I gained from conversations I wouldn't have had time for before, these became the new markers of progress. For those of you who are young, just starting out on your main career track, the pressure to sprint can be immense. Everyone seems to be launching, achieving, posting their successes. It's so easy to get caught in that comparison trap and feel like you need to rush. But this is your time for exploration. Take the scenic route sometimes. Try a different track for a while if it calls to you. That internship that seems a bit off your main path but fascinates you. That chance to travel and see a different part of the world. Those aren't detours that are costing you time. They're experiences that are adding immeasurable depth to your journey, giving you perspective you can't get by just staring straight ahead. The skills, the understanding of people, the self-awareness you gain from these varied experiences are far more valuable in the long run than being the first in your peer group to reach an arbitrary milestone. And for those of us who are a bit further down the track, maybe you're in mid-career, or even looking towards retirement, it's never too late to reassess your pace. Perhaps you've been running hard for decades, The habit of rushing, of pushing, is deeply ingrained, but ask yourself, to what end now? Is there space to savor, to mentor those coming up behind you, sharing the wisdom of your own bumpy ride, to reconnect with passions you set aside when the track demanded all your attention? The richness of life doesn't diminish with age, it often deepens, especially when we allow ourselves the grace to slow down and appreciate the nuances we missed in our youth. I've spoken with so many older individuals who say their greatest joys came not from their fastest laps, but from the quiet moments of connection, the legacy of relationships, and the wisdom they cultivated when they stopped racing. So, what does just relax actually mean in practice when the world is still yelling at you to hurry up? It means giving yourself permission to not be on 24/7, permission to say no when your plate is full without feeling guilty, permission to schedule downtime, actual breaks where you do nothing productive, and protect that time fiercely. It means mindful breathing. Seriously. When you feel that anxiety rising, that pressure mounting, just stop. Take 3 deep breaths, in through your nose, hold for a moment, out through your mouth. Notice how your shoulders drop a little. Notice how the world comes back into focus, just a tiny bit. That small pause can be the difference between reacting frantically and responding thoughtfully. It means understanding that if that assignment isn't perfect, or if it's a day late, the consequences are rarely as catastrophic as our anxiety-fueled minds predict. Yes, there are responsibilities, deadlines. We live in the real world, but chronic stress and burnout make us less effective at meeting those responsibilities in a sustainable way. Sometimes stepping back, resting, and coming back with a clearer head is the most productive thing you can do. A friend of mine, a brilliant artist, used to work herself into a frenzy before every exhibition, convinced each piece had to be a world-altering masterpiece, pushing herself to the brink. One time, completely exhausted, she submitted a piece she felt was unfinished, but simply couldn't work on anymore. To her utter shock, that raw, unfinished piece received more acclaim and resonated more deeply with people than many of her previous, painstakingly perfected works. It taught her a powerful lesson about the beauty of imperfection and the diminishing returns of relentless, anxious effort. The core message here, the heart of our little chat today, is this: your worth is not measured by your speed. Your value is not determined by how quickly you tick off boxes or how much you achieve in comparison to others. The constant need to push harder without respite is a path to exhaustion, not fulfillment. The better life you're riding hard for, it's not just at the end of the track. It's in the quality of the ride itself. It's in the moments you allow yourself to breathe, to connect, to learn, to simply be. Without the relentless pressure to do, the finish line will always be there. Take your time on the journey, savor the views, get to know your fellow travelers, gather the experiences, because those are the true trophies. That is the essence of a life truly lived, not just raced through. So, tonight or tomorrow, or whenever you feel that familiar urge to push yourself beyond your limits because you fear you're not enough, I invite you to remember this conversation. Take a breath, just relax, even for a moment. The world can wait. Your well-being can. Thank you for sharing this time with me today. I hope this has given you some food for thought, perhaps a little bit of permission to ease up on yourself. Remember to share your takeaways in the comments. I do read them. And if this resonated, a like and subscribe is always appreciated. Until next time, ride safely, ride with awareness.